Well, that was those who stuck around in the rain, they got to see something pretty exciting. That was good. Really, really proud of our players. It was definitely, as we say, a 60-minute chop. Everything that could go wrong in the first three quarters pretty much did. And they kept going. It's a great lesson for them in life. It's a football game, but as I've always said, I think this is one of the great teachers for young people, this game. So I'll open it up.
Special teams early had some struggles, and then the fourth quarter had some big plays. Can you just talk about the resilience there and how big those plays were in winning the game?
Yeah, huge plays. You know, we do some things that are a little bit different in our punt block and in our punt team. So we don't always know what we're going to get. So what we see and what we prepare for, sometimes they change. They change their protection. They did some things that they have not shown. But our kids, you know, they look at that as a play that's a viable play. And they made a big one on that. And then the sky kick was a tremendous play by Thomas Amanko and a great kick by Jude. I mean, to place it where he did. Razor thin. The margin for error was razor thin. So really proud of those guys.
Big point in the game was the Tyron Powell targeting in the second quarter. Can you take us through, I mean, your thoughts and just how it affected you guys, having to lose him for an entire second half?
Yeah, that's a huge loss. I mean, Tyreem's one of our elite players, and I can't, I can't comment on the call, but I'm confused. But what are you going to do? I will do the process. I always do it every week. I send the plays in, and then it's hard. Officiating's not easy. But when it goes to review, that's where it gets a little bit, then it's not so hard. So I'm a little confused, but that's life. You got to keep, again, those are all the things that our players had to keep fighting through. When you're trying to do something and you feel that maybe something was unjust, that can play on your mind. And you can't let it. You just got to keep chopping and see if the worm will turn. Yeah, but I know one thing, if you lay that axe down, you don't have any chance. So it doesn't guarantee if you keep going that you're going to successfully end the day, but gives you a chance.
Greg, just the way that Kyle ran the ball today, especially in the fourth quarter, I mean, what has he meant to this team this year, especially when Sam and Aaron are still kind of getting built back up?
Well, I think what Kyle is a great example when I talk to you guys about we're a developmental program. All right, Kyle came in here, and each year he's gotten better, and now he's a grown man. He's a mature 21-year-old, 22-year-old guy that you sit down, you have a man-to-man conversation, he goes back to the team, and he's a captain, and he communicates things, and then when you play the way he plays with the conviction that he plays the game with, people want to follow you.
Coach, how exciting is it to celebrate a big win like that, big comeback win like that with your team?
No, it's great. Yeah, there's, people do a lot of things in life and they're quite successful, but unless you're in that locker room, you never really know what the feeling's like. It's, you'd like to be able to bottle it, but you can't. It's for a short period of time, but man, it's fun. And as much work as you do together, and as much practice. You guys know I say it all the time, practice is everything. I believe that. So as much work we put in practice and off-season training and all that stuff, to be able to have a day like today where you just kept going at it, you kept chopping and it turns your way, boy, there's a special feeling in there.
You keep speaking about chopping and just continue to go through. I want to know what was said possibly to Wimsatt after the two early first half interceptions, and then he delivers the dime ball to give you guys the lead. What was said to help keep his composure throughout the game?
Gavin's really grown up quite a bit. And there wasn't much that needed to be said. He was frustrated. He certainly didn't want to sail it over the head, right? So when that happened, but the thing that I've seen about him is how quickly he can put it behind him and chop the next moment. And that's what we talk about all the time, is each moment is its own moment. And if you live in the past, that can steal from you. And if you live in the future, that can steal from you. I thought he did a very good job of chopping the moment, and really proud of him. He's making progress.
Greg, just a clarification point. Was the kickoff an intentional onside kick? Good break, both?
No, it's an intentional sky kick.
Sky
See,
kick.
onsides is ba-da-boom. Sky is you kick it for a spot down around the numbers area. So yeah, that was very intentional. Something we practice all the time, and Jude hit it exactly where he wanted to hit it.
Hoping to recover if the kicker's not ready, if the returner's not ready, I guess.
Well, if it's normal kickoff team, usually there's a tight end there. So he fair catches it or he catches it and runs it, right? But they were out with their hands team because they thought we were probably going to onside, and they only had one returner deep, and he almost got to it. He was close. But I thought Thomas did a great job of, quite honestly, I wasn't watching him per se. I was watching the kick, and then all of a sudden this blur shows up in the moment, and I thought great focus and concentration to catch that ball.
And then just at the end of the game, you can tell me it was the rain, but it looked like you got emotional on the sidelines maybe in that moment of victory. I'm just curious what this meant for you. I mean, it's been a long journey to get to the point where you guys are competitive and winning games like this again.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I was emotional because it was so much hard math to make. It was right on the cusp. That's why I went bananas when the clock got mixed up because, we were right on the edge, but I knew we had it if we did what we did. And then all of a sudden the clock changed. So that went from, okay, now we got it, which should have been right from the beginning, right? Because you turn in football. It's out there, and you got to make sure you do that clock exactly right. So after the game, it was probably as much relief, but I was really happy for our players. These kids work so hard, and for them to have the payoff, because they've certainly had their tough times. That was a really good day for them today.
Coach, you always talk about family, chop, but can you talk about the offensive line coming off the blocks, coming on to second level, and so forth and so on? Can you talk about that? Because they don't get enough talk.
Yeah, we're getting better on the offensive line. I thought it was a special moment. Reggie started today, and he's going to be super sore. But you talk about a warrior, and it's hard for me to tell you how well they did this or they did that because, I have the worst seat in the house. It just seems like a mush there. But when a back has opportunities like Kyle did, that people blocked well. So, and make no mistake about it, Michigan State's defense is really a good defense. They're second in the country in third down. They got some really big defensive linemen, which for us can be an issue. They're really big and strong, so I was pleased.
Coach, Christian Gemmel finishing with 6 catches for 80 yards. What did you make of his performance and how that sort of helped out the passing game?
Yeah, Drem's been steady all year, and at times spectacular, right? He's as tough as they come. The other day he had an oversized sweatshirt on and some loose pants, and you would have said the guy was, the guy who serves you the coffee at Starbucks. You wouldn't say he was a Big Ten slot receiver who's really doing well. And we were joking with him, but he is a fighter. He's a warrior, and he's a lot faster than people think too, which really helps him. But the biggest thing that helps him is he chops like nobody else. He is special.
You mentioned Reggie. What went into the decision to start him?
He was playing the best. Yeah, everything around here, is competition, and who we feel gives us the best chance to win. Am I right every time? No. Is our staff right every time? Certainly not, right? But you have to play the guys that you think at this time, today, gave you the best chance to win. Can that change? Sure, it does. You've seen the rotation. We've mixed a lot of guys. That's why I think competition, I'm a big believer that competition, the cream rises to the top with the competition, so that'll continue.
Greg, what was the feeling in that fourth quarter? Could you feel the momentum start to shift?
Yeah, you really could. And oftentimes, as a coach, you're so worried about your team. Sometimes you just got to take a breath and say, well, you know what? How do they feel right now? It's slipping away from them, right? So you have to play all that into what your decisions are. I thought our guys did a very good job. Certainly the punt block touchdown gave everybody a little juice. But you still had to go have stops, and you still had to go run drives, and there's a lot of football in that fourth quarter to get it done. Especially that last drive. I think what did it start with? 7:30 maybe. In my own mind, I'm saying, boy, we could use one of those old-fashioned Ray Rice drives right now, because we had a lot of them where we would just bleed the clock and then walk out with taking a knee, and that's just what we did. So that was gratifying.
Coach, first of all, you would know more than anybody else. Rain does funny things to a game.
Excuse me?
Rain does funny things to a game.
Yes.
This time, when the momentum changed, you could sense from the particular defense, those guys were fired up. In your decision making, were you going to be ahead of the game, or we just let it flow as the game went on?
Well, I think as a head coach, you always have to be ahead of the game, but you can't. You know, some people think you can make the game go the way you want. I've said to you many times, unfortunately, after losses, that games take on a life of their own. Well, this game took on a life of its own, and this time it was in our favor, right? And that happens. Momentum, anybody who doesn't think momentum is real, you know, they're kind of living in a dream world. Because you watch that one today, right? We were having trouble stopping them, and all of a sudden they couldn't gain an inch. How does that happen, right? There's got to be some force there, right? And, you know, I have my beliefs, but I was really happy for our guys.
Coach, what did you learn about this team from the first 3 quarters and just how they were able to put it together in the fourth quarter? You probably already knew about them, but what did you actually see come out today?
You think you know. Do you ever really know until they do it? No. You think you do. That's why last week I stood at the podium and said, yet. You know, we weren't ready to win a game like that yet. I really would not like stand here today and have to be saying it again. So I'm ultra pleased that we found a way to win that game. I think what it does, though, is any time you work really hard at something and you believe really, really strongly in something and then it works, it builds confidence in the process and it builds confidence in yourself. So I think, you know, we have a mix on our team of some older players and some really young players. And I think this is a great, great lesson for everybody, including me.
Big picture question. What does this win mean for the program as a whole? 5-2 in your 4th year, 5 games left, close to a bowl, things like that.
Yeah, you know, I know everybody thinks, here he goes with his coach speak, right? But I'm not kidding you. Like, somebody saw me today who hasn't seen me in a while. He said, boy, you look like crap. You know, my eyes were puffy. I mean, I haven't slept enough, and I can't wait to go to bed tonight. But you put so much into every week that I don't think I can do it any other way than 1-0 or 0-1 at the end of that season. Then you have a fresh season. If you win, you got to get back to work, right, and get out of your own, you know, oh, we won. And if you lose, you got to get out of your feelings and get back to work because we got to go win the next one. And that's the way I'm going to keep it. That's the way our team's going to keep it. No one's naive. Everybody knows what's at stake, right? So I mean, it's not lost on anybody. But to me, I'm not wired that way, and I try to make our program follow that same kind of train of thought. Is that each week is its own season, and that's why I celebrate when we win, and I mourn it when we lose, because you put so much into it.
The celebration after you felt the relief of the game ending and you're seeing your team celebrate on the field, jumping around. I mean, this might be hard to quantify, but where does this rank among, you know, the wins, the moments you've had here at Rutgers? It has to, imagine, be up there for you.
Yeah, we've had a lot of great moments, right? I mean, there's been some really great moments. There's some really tough moments. This one was certainly, in what we're trying to build, I think it was a critical it backed it up for the players. And they worked so hard, and then it affirmed what they're doing. So it's one game. It's over now, right? We're 1-0. We'll enjoy it tonight and then get back to work and start on the Indiana season tomorrow. But, yeah, it's good. It's really good for our guys to have this, and appreciate you guys sticking around too. All right, thanks.